Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It is me, Nania Yasmin, and I feel like it's been forever since I've recorded a video from my living room here. So I'm excited for this week's video. It was actually requested a while ago and I'm just now getting around to recording it, but I didn't forget, so I want to jump right into it. I will be discussing the cultural differences between America and Taiwan. Now, a quick disclaimer before we get started. I know you have to be careful with generalizations just because there are different people and cultures present in both countries, but for the sake of this video, I do think in general there are huge differences between the two countries, so I will just be generalizing them. Also, I don't want to show favoritism to either country. I think both have pros and cons, so I don't necessarily think one is the right way and one is the wrong way. I am simply just expressing my experiences and things I've observed between the two, considering I've lived in both America and Taiwan. So I hope this video isn't too long. I wanted to break it down between cultural differences I've experienced in Taiwan that are not present in America, and then I wanted to go ahead and switch it and state some things that you will experience in American culture that are not seen in Taiwanese culture. So we'll go ahead and jump right in. Again, these are things that I see in Taiwan that are not seen or prioritized in America. The number one difference that I want to start with is their priority in recycling. This is something that I noticed almost right off the bat. They just take recycling a step further than American culture. When you go to the grocery store, of course, if you do not have a reusable recycle bag for your items, they will charge you for the plastic bags. I know some states in America will do this, but it's definitely not a nationwide thing. Whereas in Taiwan, it is. You need to pay for the plastic bags. Also, if people don't have their reusable bag, the store will also save the cardboard boxes that the products are shipped in, so they will let people put their items in the cardboard boxes. So they have a few alternatives before people decide to buy the plastic bags. So the usage of those are definitely way lower than in American culture. Also, if you go out to eat at restaurants, they are definitely giving you more paper products opposed to plastic products. I know even with Uber Eats, they'll ask you, do you want your food to be bagged up in a bag? Again, if you say yes, you do need to pay for it, but you have the option to say no, and the driver will just come and hand you your food like this. Like, here's your drink and here's your box of food. So that is an option. Also, just in my apartment as well as at school, you will notice they have different compartments and designated areas for your trash. So again, they just go a step further. They'll have a box or a bin for paper. They'll have one for cardboard, glass, plastic, and then of course just your general trash. Same with like at fast food places, at McDonald's, they want you to get rid of your leftovers if you don't finish your meal. Get rid of the food. They have a little section for where you pour your ice and your drink away, and then you get rid of the cup. If you have like the the paper wrapper for like your burger, there's a designated area for that. Like, there's just multiple different compartments. Also with my students, they're implementing the importance of it at a very young age. So if you go to any classroom at my school, the students have literally, I think, 4 or 5 different bins, and they'll print out a picture of what goes in that bin. So I think that's amazing. I also think it plays a huge role in the cleanliness of the country. If you go to public spaces such as the bus station, the train station, the high-speed rail, or the MRT, these places are literally almost spotless. Like, they're so clean. People do not litter and just get rid of things on the floor. You won't find gum stuck to your seats and the wall next to you. Like, they're literally spotless. So definitely did not go unnoticed. Number 2 is also a huge thing for me that I noticed, and that is the safety in Taiwan. It's one of the reasons I decided to move here. I think at the time that I was doing my research, it was rated the 3rd safest country in the entire world. So that spoke volumes for me as a young woman who was moving to a new country by herself. That was very important for me. And now that I've lived here for 2.5 years, I can say that I've never ever felt unsafe in Taiwan, from just walking up and down the street or being somewhere late at night. I've never been harassed. I've never been shouted at. I've never been catcalled or anything. Like, people just let me be. I've never felt like anyone was being overly aggressive towards me or anything like that. Also, just with like your belongings, it is very common to see people leave their keys in their scooter ignition and it's left untouched. I wouldn't doubt people leave their doors unlocked. If you lose something, 9 times out of 10, it will get returned to you the same way that you lost it. I've personally heard of people losing their cell phones, losing their wallets, and getting it returned to them with the money still inside of it. So next I will go into number 3, which is efficient transportation. I've stated in a previous video that I do not have a car in Taiwan. I honestly do not miss having a car. I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything, and I've never even considered getting a car in Taiwan. There are multiple different options when it comes to getting around, whether that's locally within your city or even if you want to explore Taiwan and go north or south, there is a public transportation option available for you. You have Ubers, there's taxis, buses, trains, the high-speed rail, the MRT. There's a lot of options that go literally from the north to the south, and they're efficient. So they are run on strict schedules. So you want to be on time because your bus or train will pull off when they say they are pulling off, and they will get you where you need to be when they say they're going to get you where you need to be. So I think this is great, again, for foreigners that are looking to move here and you may need to commute to work. You can rely on public transportation and it is likely to get you where you need to be by a specific time that you can count on. I will say number 4 is affordable healthcare. This is also a huge difference. Now, I won't say I personally feel the healthcare is better in Taiwan compared to America, but it is more affordable. You can go see the doctor, go see the dentist, or even the optometrist for maybe contacts or glasses, and it is not going to break the bank. I've personally had a health scare while living in Taiwan. I've had to go to the emergency room more than once, and I was nervous to see the bill. I'm like, you know, in America, this would be literally thousands of dollars. I was able to pay the hospital and be done with it. It's not a debt that is following me. I didn't have to be put on any monthly payment plans or anything like that. I'd say number 5, I think as a foreigner in Taiwan, I am embraced and welcomed here more than I think foreigners would be embraced and welcomed in America. Now, I did mention in a previous video being Black in Taiwan. I'll go ahead and link that above, so check that out if you haven't. Did mention American privilege in that video. That is definitely a thing in Taiwan. There is favoritism depending on which country you're from, but in general, I don't think any foreigners are mistreated because they're a foreigner, and I don't think people are sought out to feel unwelcomed because they're a foreigner here. I've even mentioned in other videos, there have been plenty of instances where people have literally gone out of their way to extend grace to me because I'm a foreigner. They understand and they can visibly see that I'm not from here. I may be struggling with directions or the language, and they've gone out of their way to help me because I'm a foreigner. Also, I've been to places where locals have literally apologized to me for not speaking English, and I had to tell them, you know, don't feel bad about not speaking English in your own country. So now I will quickly go ahead and switch this over to things that are in American culture that I don't necessarily feel are practiced or seen in Taiwanese culture. I will start with number one. I think American culture is a lot more accommodating when it comes to customer service. So whether this is in a restaurant or a hotel, or even I've experienced this at school, you know, you have this saying, the customer is always right. When you are inconvenienced somewhere, whether it's the company's fault or not, 9 times out of 10, they will side with you, the customer, and they will try to accommodate you in any way that they can. Whether it's giving you a new meal, or they're giving you a discount, they're giving you your money back, they're upgrading your room, whatever it may be, they will try to come up with a solution to cater to you as the customer, so that you will return or you just have a good experience with them. And in Taiwan, you don't really see that. If you go somewhere and you are inconvenienced, good luck with trying to get it solved. There have been times where I've ordered food and there's pork on it or there's ham in it, and you know, comping my meal or making me a brand new plate is just not an option. At best, they will take that plate, they will pick out the parts that I cannot eat, and then they will reserve me that same plate. Like, that's literally the best that they will offer. But regardless if you enjoy the meal or not, if you eat it or not, you will be paying for this meal. I've experienced this at school as well. Usually, you know, people will say, oh, I have bad news, but I have good news. Which one do you want first? There have been times at school where, you know, I've been inconvenienced out of my control, and they'll just lay that on me without any other solutions or advice to move around that. I am left to come up with that on my own. So that was a huge adjustment for me. When I first came here, I would find myself complaining and, you know, just wanting someone to care about me being inconvenienced. But here, it's like you gotta roll with the punches. This is the latest update that I have. It's out of my control. Sorry, but you gotta figure it out. So that's a huge difference that I've noticed within the cultures. Number two, I would say America has obviously heavily invested in technology. Our culture is, you know, relies on it a lot more heavily than Taiwanese culture. Now, of course, in Taiwan, your phone will work. There is Wi-Fi available. You can go anywhere and they will offer free Wi-Fi. But in terms of systems and how their systems go, they're a little outdated, I think, personally, whether it's with the bank or like more official documents at immigration. I, you know, found myself pretty surprised with how you don't really have the convenience, again, or the option of, you know, doing things online or having an operator number that you can call and get things figured out from the comfort of your home. You know, if you need something fixed or you have a question about something, it's still pretty old school. You gotta go and talk to them in person. There have been, you know, plenty of times I've gotten official documents printed out to me and I have to hold on to that. There is no PDF file that's going to be emailed to me. There's no portal that I can go sign up for online. You get the printout, you have a copy, we have a copy literally in our file cabinet. We will look you up by name physically, and that's that. So again, that was something I noticed coming from America. You're so used to everything being online. You can do everything on your own. I'd say number 3, I've noticed this in the classroom with the education system. Now, I'm not going to personally give my opinion on the education systems. I think both have pros and cons, but I've noticed in the classroom with my students, American culture, well, I've never been a teacher in America, but as someone who was a student in America and who is now a teacher in Taiwan, I've noticed you have the option to be a lot more creative and express yourself in school in America compared to Taiwan. I, try to give my students a lot more open-ended assignments where they can be creative. They can kind of come up with their own stories or their own conclusions, and they genuinely struggle with it. And some of them have expressed that they don't enjoy it. They really just want the answer to be in plain sight for them. I'll give them examples and I'll come up with my own to show them, this is how you can do it, but I want you to come up with your own. And they will still just copy my example to a T. Things for them are a lot more straightforward. A plus B is C, and that's what makes sense. There's no reason to question it. There's no reason to come up with other alternatives. B plus A is C. Like, whatever you give to them, that's what makes sense, and that's that. And I think the last difference I will note is, I want to be careful with this one because I want to say open-mindedness and awareness. Now, again, I know I mentioned Taiwanese culture is more welcoming and embracing of foreigners, but I've also mentioned in many videos how I get the reactions I've received in Taiwan as a Black woman. And I've had plenty of people, comment on my videos and explain why I get those reactions. I've also stated that I don't really take offense to it. I understand it's out of curiosity most of the time and they don't mean me any harm. But to be quite honest, it was still surprising to experience just because we have so much access to technology now. And now that I've been here for 2.5 years, I can see that Western and American culture is embedded in Taiwan. They are aware of things that are going on in our culture. So I'm still surprised to see how they react to other people because they know other people are out there. But I guess, again, it just comes with cultural differences, how they, maybe staring at someone or wanting to take a picture of someone is not deemed as rude in their culture, which is okay. But for me, that was just a surprise to experience that since I've been here. You would think, they wouldn't be as surprised or they wouldn't react the way that they do when they see people that look different from them or sound different from them, just because you can go places and they're playing our music, they play the same, our movies are here, so we have access to technology. Our culture's embedded in their style and the way that they dress. So they're aware of it, but I guess it's just the way that they react to it is different than the way that we react to things in America. And of course, in America, it's a melting pot. You're exposed to different people and different cultures way earlier than in Taiwan, so you don't even think twice about it when you see someone that looks different from you. Yeah, I don't have a real blanket statement for that one. I just wanted to mention that those are different within the cultures. But yeah, I think that sums up my video. This was a great topic. I had to really sit down and think about what I wanted to say in this video. And honestly, the differences that I shared with you all today are really more on a surface level. I could definitely dig deeper on this topic in another video. It would take a little more thought and it would probably be a bit longer. But again, thank you for those of you that requested this video. Sorry it took so long, but I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope I was able to express myself in an unbiased way. Again, I think both countries have their pros and cons. I'm not in favor of one or the other. I don't think one is better than the other, one is right or wrong. I just wanted to express what I've experienced. And that sums it up for today. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them down below. Thank you always for the support, and I will see you guys next time.